Hey everyone, how are we doing today? Welcome back to the baseball edition of the Casual Fan Podcast, the hardest working, most accurate, and above all else, the most profitable sports gambling podcast on the planet. If you like free money as much as I do, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the YouTube page. You can also find us at Fan the Casual on Instagram. Today, gang, it's our turn to break down the AL Central, a division that sent 3 teams to the expanded playoffs last year. We're going to take a quick look at the pitching, the hitting, and the offseason acquisitions, whether they will go over their projected total this year or whether they'll go under. Like I said in my AL East video, I'll just remind you that each team plays 19 games against each division opponent. That's 76 in total, so division strength really matters when looking at these over-unders. This time around, we're going to start at the bottom, we're going to work our way up. Who else but the Detroit Tigers, where they found themselves 4 of the last 6 seasons. If you project their win total last year, they would have been at 62 wins. Their projected over-under this year is 68.5 wins. That's 6.5 games higher. In the span of an early week in September last year, they lost 3 games, 19-0, 12-2, 14-0. Surely they've improved their pitching staff going into this year. No siree. Matt Boyd is their opening day starter. He has pretty good stuff. Each year people want to see that he can put it together. He now has 6 seasons under his belt. Career best ERA is 4.39, and his strikeout numbers aren't as great as his stuff would indicate, or people seem to project on him and how good his stuff is. In 6 of his 12 starts last year, that's 50%, he gave up 4 or more runs. That is an SB1 stuff. Goes to show that if they're trying him out their opening day, what their goal is for the season. They were fairly busy this offseason. They re-signed Scope. He's a decent second baseman in this league. They signed Robbie Grossman. He was an outfielder for the Oakland Athletics last year. Started off really hot. People thought he might have been having a career year, but he did regress in that second half. I think he hit 202 average in the second half. They brought in veteran catcher Wilson Ramos. He'll look to bounce back from an offseason, but he's 33. I wouldn't really bank on it. This is yet another team to take a chance on Nomar Mazara. He was once projected to be a really, really good player in this league, but he had a bad season last year. He's had a couple of bad seasons now, and his power numbers are so far down. He had 1 home run in 42 games last year. They got some young prospects. They got 11th overall prospect Casey Mize, a great starting pitcher. Same can be said about another rookie, Tarek Skubal. He was the 24th overall pick as well. And Matt Manning, who stands at 6'6" and is a 25th rated prospect in Major League Baseball. So they got some young players they're gonna look to integrate into the lineup. They had some experience last year and they did not prove themselves at all. So the Tigers are gonna need them to take a bit of a step. Are they going to take a step to reach the over? None of their starters nor anyone in their bullpen is projected for an ERA below 4.5. Their one good reliever last year was Brian Garcia. He's projected to close, but that's not even been announced. So this bullpen is a big mess. The Detroit Tigers are not looking to compete this year. They're going to play the rookies. If they don't perform well, they're gonna have a really bad record. If they do perform up to their potential and their pedigree, they're still not gonna have a great year, guys. Take the under 68.5 wins here. Next up is the Kansas City Royals. They're at plus 4,000 to win this division. The over-under set for them is 72.5. That's 2.5 more wins than their 70 win pace last year. My instinct is to take the over here. They'll win quite a few games in this division, guys. And unlike the Tigers rookies, the rookies that the Royals trotted out there last year actually performed well and showed their quality. And in this offseason, they were aggressive. They signed former 2019 All-Star Mike Minor to a deal up to 3 years and $31 million. They got Andrew Benintendi from the Red Sox. The Red Sox even sent them some cash along with it. So hopefully a change of scenery will lead Benintendi to recapture his rookie form. And they got Carlos Santana in from the Cleveland Indians. After 10 years over in Cleveland, he is going to be 35 and he is coming off his worst season. But what I'm taking away from these transactions, guys, is that the Royals, they're not looking to be a bottom feeder here. They're going to be in it to win it. Are they actually going to win it? No, but they're in it to win it. What I like about their rotation here, guys, is that they got really good arms 1 through 5. They don't have an absolute stud ace like the Cleveland Indians, but all their guys are 6'3" and above, a mixture of veterans and young guys, and they're capable of going deep if they're grooving. Danny Duffy's gonna do what Danny Duffy does, although last year he put up some of his best numbers since 2016. I mean, Keller was their best pitcher last year, even with a career K per 9 of around 6, which means he is gonna run into some rough outings here and there. Maybe his final numbers won't be as good at the end of this year as they were last year, but he's also gonna go out there sometimes and throw 6 innings, giving up 1 run. and that's winning baseball. He's also looking to incorporate a little bit of a change-up too, so watch out for that. And now a couple of 2018 draft picks, Chris Bubich and Brady Singer, they got their feet wet last year. They're going to be given starting roles right off the bat this year. Now Singer was a more highly touted prospect, but Bubich actually really did well last year, and I can see a scenario where Bubich does have a better year than Singer, but both would do fairly well in my opinion. Now on offense, guys, they got bats, they got people. These aren't the Tigers, these aren't the Orioles. They have a 6-time All-Star and 3-time Silver Slugger catching the ball in Sally Perez. Adalberto Mondesi is the best back swiper in baseball. Alex Gordon is an old man manning the outfield. He's definitely past his prime, but he's still winning Gold Gloves for fun at the age of 36. Good old Whit Merrifield gets on base with ease and was 5th in stolen bases last season. And then they got a guy who smoked 48 dingers in 2019 in Jorge Soler. So you get all the little fast guys to get on base and Soler can just drive them home. And as if they didn't have enough speed, they brought in Michael A. Taylor, who needs to work on his batted ball skills, but he's got pace and he's going to be an asset defensively as well. I envision the old, albeit overpaid guys they brought in this year to add a level of stability and to get this team close to 500. I'm not saying playoffs, but I definitely think they'll go over their total. Now we'll check in with the Cleveland baseball team. They're at 81.5. That's 13.5 games lower than where they were projected to finish last year. And just listen here and you'll see why. In terms of off-season traffic, it was all one-way traffic and it was all heading right out of Cleveland. It's a cash-strapped ball club. It has been for a while. They just can't hold on to their great pieces. There was rumors, there was speculation for a while, even going back a few seasons, but Francisco Lindor is now in the Big Apple with Cookie Carrasco playing for the New York Mets. He was perennially one of the best and most entertaining shortstops in this league. They did bring in Eddie Rosario, who's a decent bat to man the outfield, the only real decent bat they have in their outfield. Offensively, I don't have a problem with them at all, 1 through 4. Cesar Hernandez, Jose Ramirez, the aforementioned Eddie Rosario, and Franmil Reyes. That's not bad at all. Ramirez is obviously a stud. He has 3 Silver Slugger awards, and he also has 3 top 3 MVP finishes in the last 4 seasons. Franmil Reyes, his gaudy home run to fly ball rate did come back down to earth with his power numbers last year, but he did actually a pretty good job getting on base. So 1 through 4, I don't hate it at all. It's the bottom of the lineup that really stinks. It's going to be rough. It's going to be hard to drive runs home. And I can see it throughout the course of the season changing a lot, putting different guys at different spots, trying to make some magic happen. But I don't think they're going to be pulling any rabbits out of their hats. Now let's go to pitching, something that the Cleveland team has had a bounty of riches in the last few seasons. Remember the glory days of Corey Kluber, Trevor Bauer, Mike Clevenger? Well, now the parents are out of town and now the kids are going to be left to rule the roost. Shane Bieber's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting, but he is more than capable. And they'll also hope the young phenom Tristan McKenzie can get to work. Zach Plesac and Aaron Civale are not household names yet, but Plesac has a 24.8 K to base on ball rate. That's 13th in the league, and that's because he doesn't walk anyone. He walked 6 guys in 55 innings last year. 2 of those walks came in his last appearance. Now the problem is they have Logan Allen projected as the SP5. He has a bit of buzz, but he has really, really bad numbers in the minors. And then at the back end, seeing as though they got rid of veteran closer Brad Hand, they're giving the nod to James Karinchak, who misses bats for fun, absolute fun, but he also misses the zone just as much. Really little control there, so I see quite a few blown saves in his future. Out of those 5 starters and the closer I mentioned, Zach Plesac is the oldest at 26. Now those young arms definitely show promise. I don't think the Cleveland Indians are gonna have as good a season as last year. However, Vegas has really over-adjusted in setting this line. And that's what gives me pause. The instinct is to be take the under, they won't be as good. But this could be a 500 ball club. And what's putting me over the edge is their boss, Terry Francona. He's one of the best managers in all of baseball. He hasn't had a losing record in 16 years. So why bet that he's gonna have one in his 17th? Give me the over for the total. Give me the over 81.5 for the Cleveland baseball team. The Minnesota Twins. Now they're at plus 175 to win the division, but I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off now, guys. I don't like them to win this division at all, even though they are clearly the 2nd ranked team in the AL Central. The over-under is at 88.5. They were projected to win 94.5 last year, which is the same as the Cleveland team we just talked about. Let's look at the transactions. They brought in 4-time Gold Glover Andrelton Simmons, one of the best defensive shortstops in the game, and this obviously moves Jose Polanco to second base. They brought in Alex Colomé, who had a great season closing last year, but Taylor Rogers, who the Twins had as their closer in 2019, he had a good year. So now they have 2 good arms at the back of that bullpen, and clearly it shows that they're looking to build, and they're going to build for postseason success, something that they just don't have in Minnesota. They did lose Eddie Rosario, as already mentioned, and they'll replace him with Alex Kirilloff, the former first-round pick. And he's never had a major league at bat. It's hard to say what he's going to be like this year. And here's why I don't like them to win the division, guys. On offense, Miguel Sano strikes out consistently amongst the highest in the league. Mid-30s we're talking about. This is something that he should have corrected by now, and the fact that he hasn't just kind of tells me that he's incapable of doing so. Josh Donaldson, the bringer of rain, what an absolute legend, but he's past his prime. Nelson Cruz is playing in his 16th season and he's still balling, but Father Time is undefeated. If this is the year that he doesn't perform, then this number's going under pretty easily in my opinion. Jose Polanco is a decent bat, but he'll need to prove that his power bump in 2019 was the real deal. He regressed last year, and hopefully 2019 isn't an aberration. They are pretty set at the catcher position though. They got Mitch Garver, who had a god-awful year last year. He was lost behind the plate, but he was dealing with an injury. And they got the prospect Ryan Jeffers. So they're gonna split time, and there's not really a drop-off between the two. If you watch the AL Cy Young video, you know I freaking love me some Kenta Maeda, but I also dislike me some Jose Barrios, so that kind of cancels out. They also have Pineda, J.A. Happ, and Matt Shoemaker filling out the rest of the rotation. All veterans. Pineda has the biggest upside. Shoemaker's good when he's healthy, but he never stays healthy. And J.A. Happ, God bless him. He just keeps churning on. He's about 38 right now. He has basically no heat, but he gets the job done. Oh, and don't forget about Hell's Angels' Randy Dobnak. Even with his 5.21 K per 9, he's an effective starter. All that being said, guys, the bookmakers have them competing with the White Sox. I definitely don't see that. I'm gonna take the under here. They're relying on a lot of high variance guys and injury-plagued players, and at this current time, they don't have a Jose Ramirez, and they don't have a Shane Bieber as good as much as I like Kenta Maeda. There's a lot of good on this team, but there's not that much great. And that's why I like the Chicago White Sox at -143 to win this division, pretty much going away. Now guys, I'm actually very, very excited to talk about the Chicago White Sox team, a team that I think will compete for the pennant this year. They finished 3rd last year, but they're gonna be top dog when all is said and done after 162 in 2021. The over-under is actually at 3 wins less than they were projected to have last year. Here are the major changes. Adam Eaton gets a homecoming. He's coming back to the White Sox. Lance Lynn, what a stud. He's coming over in a deal that sent bright young prospect Dane Dunning the other way. I really like Dunning, so the fact that they were willing to give him up for Lance Lynn shows they are going full steam ahead in 2021. They got one of the best closers the last 2 years in Liam Hendricks. They're gonna pay him $54 million, and he's gonna replace Alex Colomé, who, like we already mentioned, did have a good season last year. In terms of pitching, as mentioned in the Cy Young video, Lucas Giolito, Dallas Keuchel, Lance Lynn, they're all in the top 10 for candidates to win the prestigious award in the American League. Carlos Rodon and Dylan Cease have boatloads of potential, and that's not even mentioning the fact that they'll get former top prospect Michael Kopech back in the mix. Speaking of top prospects, they're so spoiled for choices they had to move Ronaldo Lopez to the bullpen. And let's keep going with pitching prospects, shall we? Cody Hoyer, Garrett Crochet, and Matt Foster, all great prospects, all going to be valuable assets in the Chicago White Sox bullpen this year, giving them valuable relief innings. They got rid of the aging Edwin Encarnacion and Nomar Mazara. Neither had good years. They're not going to miss them at all. They're stacked all through this lineup. A mix of great young budding superstars and veteran talent and know-how. Tim Anderson. Oh, Tim Anderson. His numbers show that he will regress, but yet he refuses to do so. I think he's more of a 280 hitter. He's hitting in the last 200 games like a 320 hitter. But even so, even if he does regress a little bit, he's proven that even with a high BABIP and a low walk rate, he's getting the job done. Eloy Jimenez, it was him and Vladdy Guerrero Jr. coming up at the same time, and Eloy has just done this. He's an absolute stud. stud. He's a great young player with great natural power. He's 24 years old. He won the Silver Slugger Award last year. If he can stay healthy, his future can be really, really bright. They're gonna actually probably spell him at DH when they can too. He does need to work on his defense. And Luis Robert from last year too, he lived up to potential in my opinion as well. His raw numbers weren't there, but his talent was on full display. He struggled on the road with a 196 average, and he struggled in the second half of the year, only hitting 202. But guys, he is gonna take a jump this year, you better believe that. Even Yoan Moncada, if he can get back to what he did in the last full season in 2019, that'd be a huge plus for the White Sox. That was the only year he had a strikeout percentage less than 30%, but he could be a poor man's Javi Baez, and the White Sox would definitely take that at this point. Yasmani Grandal, he didn't have the best year last year, but he's proven to be one of the best catchers in this league. And guys, don't dare think I forgot about your AL MVP, Jose Abreu. No one's told Jose that he's 34 years old. He's just keeping on keeping on. Last year's MVP has been great his whole MLB career, but he took it to an even higher level last year. Albert Pujols wasn't even doing this at age 34. How about this for stats? 317 average, 11th in the league, 4th in the league in OPS. He was 7th in ISO with a 300 ISO. Good God, that's a lot of power. 2nd in homers behind Luke Voit. Abreu had 19, and he's 10th in runs scored with 43. And above all else, the top dog in RBI with 60. Good God, guys, they haven't even mentioned 4th overall pick and the guy man in second base this year, Nick Madrigal. He's going to be batting towards the end of the order. He's been on base at an absolute elite rate every step of the way in every level of his major league career. I can see him taking Adam Eaton's job near the top of the order, but Eaton lower by the end of the season. He's more of a base stealing threat than Eaton. It makes a lot of sense in my mind. He just has absolutely no power to speak of. And I could go on and on about the White Sox, but I'm not going to. All I'm gonna do is say that they're gonna hit the over. I think they're gonna be 100 wins or better for the South Side of Chicago team this year. Lock that in. They will have a winning record at the end against every team in the division. And now guys, let's put a nice little bow on the AL Central. In order of how confident I am that these predictions will come true, the Chicago White Sox over 91.5 wins. The Detroit Tigers under 68.5 wins. The Kansas City Royals over 72.5 wins. The Minnesota Twins under 88.5 wins. And I have a sneaky feeling that Terry Francona and the Cleveland baseball team are gonna go over 81.5 wins. And boom, guys, just like that, that's everything you need to know for the AL Central. Who to bet on, how to win a bunch of free money. Perfect. I am your host, Ben Holmes. This has been the baseball edition of the Casual Fan Podcast. Don't forget to smash that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. We're gonna be here giving you absolute quality content all through the hockey season, all through the baseball season. And coming up soon, we're gonna have basketball galore for you, okay, guys? Stay tuned. We'll see you next time on the Casual Fan Podcast.